Whoever James now with Media Watch, who's here on the other side of us. Judah, good evening to you. The terror attack on a gay nightclub in Florida, of course, this weekend, dominating the news. What are you seeing?
Well, sadly, it's a reaction that we can describe now as the usual reaction to this kind of terror attack. Cartoonists, pledges of sort of solidarity everywhere on social media. This effort from the French cartoonist Plantu has Lady Justice in place of the stars on the Stars and Stripes, and of course the rainbow colours that signify the gay community there. Another very simple image that I think is rather sweet. This one with Orlando and the two male symbols and two female symbols to the right-hand side there. Lots of messages like that, pray for Orlando and the like, sadly, that we have seen so many times before. Looking on Facebook, though, you do find certain rows erupting, and it is highlighting certain issues such as gun culture, racism, religion, homophobia. This one is from Occupy Democrats. They say this man just shot up an Orlando nightclub, killing 49, we now know. He was a domestic abuser, mentally unstable, and was investigated by the FBI twice for his links to terrorist suspects. Oh, and he easily bought a military-grade assault rifle with high-capacity magazine, no questions asked. They're again flagging up the issue that the US has with its gun culture. This is a tweet from a Time magazine journalist who says that Hillary Clinton, in her speech earlier tonight, brought many in the crowd to their feet when she said, if the FBI is watching you for suspected terrorist links, you should not be able to go out and buy a gun. It does seem like common sense. But it's something that the US hasn't been able to achieve or change because of the gun lobby in the United States. This Twitter user, I think, really sums up what many people feel. I realise guns don't kill people, people kill people, but it's odd how the weapon of choice for mass murder is never a vase or a book.
Indeed. A humorous twist to this incredibly sad, shocking story. And you mentioned the gun issue, of course, a very different response from Donald Trump, the presumptive candidate for the Republicans for president. For him, it's not guns that represents a problem, it's, well, immigration, he says.
Immigration and Islam seem to be the two things that he is really homing in on. He stirred controversy at the weekend when he attacked the US President Barack Obama for failing to use the words radical Islam when he gave his address to the nation in the wake of the shooting in Orlando. That is the tweet that he originally sent, saying he should resign immediately in disgrace. Now, tonight's speech, once again, he has reiterated his very right-wing views on Muslims, in particular the desire to ban them from moving to the United States. He wants to take US immigration policy from totally incompetent to just the opposite, is what he had to say. He's talking about suspending immigrations from areas that have a history of terrorism, such as Syria, where millions of people have fled the country because of war to escape the threat of terrorism. The bottom line, he says, is that the only reason the killer in Orlando was in America in the first place was because we allowed his family to come here. Now, some people highlighting the irony in that statement. Trump and Orlando killer, both born in New York, both have immigrant mothers. This one too, a quick question before I'm deported. Does Trump ban apply to places where terrorist funding came from the US? Asking for a Northern Irish friend, because of course the US has supplied money to the IRA in Northern Ireland. So lots of questions being asked about Trump's policy, but only a cursory glance at Twitter tells you that he really does split opinion in the United States. These tweets typical. In his first appearance since the Orlando murders, Trump gives a speech that is at the same time decisive, self-promoting and deceitful. Well, this Twitter user says, much as one is averse to Trump, it's hard not to see sense in his statement at times like now.
With all the arguments and the political bandwagons that seem to go with them, it can be all too easy, can't it, Emma, to forget, well, the victims in all of this.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the places to look if you particularly want to find out more about the victims of this attack is the Orlando Sentinel. Their website they're basically building profiles of every single one of the victims of this attack killed at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. And when you click on the images, what you get are brief not biographies really, but just little stories about these people, little human stories. Amanda Alvia, they say here, wouldn't want hate spread in her name. She's a 25-year-old trainee nurse who was out with her best friend who was also killed that night. And rather terribly, she actually Snapchatted somebody at the moment that the shooting broke out. And you see the look of terror, the momentary sort of incomprehension as to what was happening before the video then comes to a close, and that is the last that anybody saw of her. Another victim who has very much been in the spotlight in this particular story is a 30-year-old gentleman called Eddie Justice. Now, many people read the final text that he sent to his mother, Mina. They were reproduced online at the weekend, spread around very widely online, and in it he told her that he loved her, but that the gunman was coming and he feared he was going to die, and he asked her to call the police. Really devastating stuff. But this just goes to show that this isn't just about politics. It's not just about gun culture and immigration law. This is about individual people who were on a night out and never returned home. Looking elsewhere online, we also have the small ray of hope in humanity, I suppose, the fact that people are trying to raise money for the families of the victims. More than $1.8 million raised already on this GoFundMe site. And there's also another page that's been set up by American Muslims. Muslims United for Victims of Pulse Shooting. They have raised $43,000 already as well. So there are some sort of a glimmer of hope, if you like, in terms of the attitudes in the wake of this killing.
Indeed, and we could all do with that glimmer of hope right now. Emma, thank you very much indeed. Emma James with Media Watch.